Welcome to Breaking 70, Race Against Father Time, Chasing Dreams and Defying Time with Brian Bailey.
Hey there, GolfCask members. This is Brian Bailey bringing you our next episode of Breaking 70. Good news, I was released from PT. I actually got to play golf last week. Wasn't pretty, but I got to play. Back's feeling pretty good. Have some periods of not comfortableness, but definitely getting better fast. So the remainder of this month, I'm going to keep doing my workouts. I'm going to start playing some more golf, try to get into some sort of fighting shape. As I start my journey, I don't want to show up to these great coaches' doorsteps and not be able to break 1,000, right? So we're going to do a lot of work there. We're switching over this time into chipping, right? But I have a putter in my hand. Well, this is what I love about having a membership. So GolfCask is the main company I run now. We're a golf and whiskey company where we kind of celebrate those passions. So even if you're a golfer, come join us at GolfCask. We do a lot of golf talk. You can ignore the whiskey talk. But what I've really come to enjoy is the fact that we do have a membership. Currently, there's about 100 members active in the system. We want to get that to 1,000 and then to 10,000. And then see where it goes from there. But we do have active members in the system asking questions. And one big question I got was talking about rhythm and timing. And I hit on this a little bit inside of putting when we were kind of hitting 10 footers. I'll create another video here, and I'm gonna have a magazine coming out for golf, kind of how to kind of kickstart your training for putting. So be on the lookout for that magazine coming up. So we'll talk more about timing. But I thought it was a really good question because when we got into short game, my first video was going to be on timing, rhythm, tempo, kind of controlling time, how the club moves in space, and also our main skills. We talked about skills in putting. Can I control the face? Can I control the low point? Can I control speed? We're going to do a lot of the same stuff with short game, right? So short game and putting are very similar, that they kind of run together. They're more finesse activities, right? We're not adding a lot of power in the system. What we're trying to do, instead of hitting it a long way, we want to do the exact opposite. We want to hit it short and controlled. So putting and short game to me are kind of cousins. The methods are a little bit different, but a lot of the pieces are the same. And especially when it comes to timing. So next week, the whole video will be on nothing but how to apply timing on the golf course, as well as the kind of skill training to kind of start to show you where you're strong and weak in your ability to control the club around the scoring area, around the putting green. So next week will be more on facility. Today is going to be more me just blabbering, right? So the really cool thing, so we're talking about timing. What does that timing look like? Roughly, it's a 2-to-1 ratio, whatever that might be on how you like to move in time. And everybody moves in time differently, right? We have some people that move really fast. Everything they do is fast, fast, fast. They talk fast, they move fast, they react fast. Everything is fast. I had a college player, I swear, she would hit the ball, and before the swing would be over, she would already be reacting to what she knows the shot was going to be. And it was really funny on the putting green. She would hit a putt. I mean, she would not even, the follow through wouldn't even be done, and she'd already be walking and kind of cussing herself or pulling the ball out of the hole. So everything she did is really, really fast. So if I was a coach and I tried to get her to move in time that was slow, that would just be death. I have another player that takes the putter back, and chipping's the same way, really slow and long. Is that wrong? No, she performs very, very well. So if I try to get her to take this long, slow putting stroke and go really fast, it would destroy it in what she does and how she does it. And she's very slow in everything. She's slow in talking, she's slow in moving, just doesn't move fast, right? It's okay. But the key is what we've got to do is see how you move in time the best to perform the best. So what I discovered a few years ago, and this is kind of like I said, this is where it's really cool to have members. I had a player talking about time because they were asking about the chipping yips and the putting yips. Where I see the majority of yips coming from is the fact that they move the club poorly in time. What do I mean by that? They either move it really fast on the way back and then they kind of break things, or they move really slow and then to create energy they pull really fast, or they don't go far enough back inside of chipping or inside of putting. They don't go far enough back in the stroke. They don't create enough area to move in time, so they have to move really fast to generate a certain distance, right? So most of the yips, and yips is such a bad term, but a lot of people's inconsistency, or kind of a yippy part, is the fact that they do not control time and space well. So they don't know how far to move the club in time, how fast to move it, and how far. They just don't have that concept. So the yips, again, you're out of balance. You're either moving it really short, really fast, moving it really, really long, and then having to just kind of scrape into it. So there's a weight and a momentum to this club, and the key is we want that momentum and that weight to stay relatively neutral. So when we start to accelerate, or don't accelerate enough, make the club very heavy, we don't allow that to kind of help you move and stabilize the club. Putting gets really, really challenging, and controlling the face, kind of our skill challenge, gets really, really challenging. So a lot of people use metronomes. I hate metronomes. Why? So I have to be able to move this putter in time when these beats are happening. If you're into music, it's probably not that bad for you. For someone like me that can't carry a tune in a bucket, it's death, right? For me, able to time when to move the putter. So that functionality didn't work very well. So I was trying to come up with a way to help my players be able to understand how to move in time better, but more so something that they can take to the golf course, right? So a lot of these great training aids that are out there to help you with length and time, they have putting mats, putting boards, voice things, clocks, sensors that you put in, TrackMan, everything's telling you in time and space how things are moving. That's awesome in training, but it doesn't go to the golf course. So what I discovered is you can use syllables to help you move. So a person that likes to move the putter really, really quick, we want them to use a very short one-syllable word. So let's say to hit it 10 feet with a putter, dog. So I need to take the putter about 8 inches back. So dog. So one-syllable word, that's perfect. A two-syllable word, we're going to take the putter back about 12 to 16 inches. Again, depending on how fast you say things in your head and how you move. This will vary, but we'll go a two-syllable word, let's say about 12 inches back. We'll go donut, right? Donut. So now you can see dog, donut. I'm adding length and time, but by me saying the syllable word in my head, and then we always say it in our head because if we say it out loud, it tends to be quicker. So when I say donut out loud, it's pretty fast, but when I say it in my head, it's much slower. You couldn't hear it. There's not much going on in there. I could hear plenty. And then we got a three-syllable word, let's say Virginia, right? So Virginia. So now we're going to move. So now I need more length because I'm moving slower. Dog, Virginia. So now I'm moving slower. So I need more length to create that same energy. So where is this beneficial? Again, everybody moves differently. So we want a timing system that matches what they do. So on the putting green, as well as in short game works the same. So if I had a wedge here, I would go dog, then I would go donut, and then I would go Virginia. Oops. So again, what you can start to see is that same mentality works, right? That same understanding of time. So again, if I'm moving the club slower, I need to create more energy to hit it the same distance as if I take it shorter back and faster. Which one's best? Again, we need to match what you do. Now, when you move really short and very quick, we're looking at a very accelerated shot. As a baseline, might not be the most optimal for most, because when we get short and quick, we tend to do everything with accelerations. We start to fire smaller muscles, and we tend to be, more handsy, more small muscle driven, right? To me, most players fit kind of in that two-syllable to three-syllable, but what I do is I train my players for all, because again, if I'm in really nasty, deep rough, I might need that quick one-syllable word to create enough energy. I might need, if I'm trying to hit a big high shot up over a bunker, I might need that three-syllable word Virginia, open face, and hit this big, lazy swing to hit it really, really high and really, really soft. So I train all my athletes to be able to manage all 3 different speeds, but there will be an optimal timing for you. Whether it's a 2-syllable word, 3-syllable word, 1-syllable word, there'll be an optimal timing. So next video, we'll go out on the golf course and we'll start hitting some putts, less so, more chips, by using our syllables and trying to figure out what works best inside of timing. Because if you get your timing right, controlling the club face, controlling kind of our skill components becomes very, very easy. When we're moving the club very quick, or we're using a lot of small muscle, small variations in how we're moving the club, it gets really, really challenging on being able to control the parameters of the face, the club head, the low point, all that in space. So what you'll come to find out is if we can get our rhythm right, then a lot of the geometry takes care of itself. Thank you, Rob Fales, for that one. So what we're really going to start to work on is when we're starting to hit pitch shots and chip shots, as well as putting, we need to be able to put a syllable to it. And since it is a 2-to-1 ratio for putting and most of short game, so by me going donut, and then when I finish, donut, that gives you kind of your 2-to-1 ratio, right? So it's donut, donut. So if you want your swing perfectly in balance, you can say the word twice in your head and really create that. Because what I see a lot of amateurs and a lot of high handicappers do, they tend to go really short and really long through. Some might even go really long back and stop short. We want a stroke that is relatively in balance. And by you saying these words in your head, controlling the syllables and controlling how you say it inside of your head, you can actually control the length of the stroke or the length of the pitch inside of time and get very, very repeatable actions. Because if we can control our rhythm in time and space, if we control how far we take the club back and how we move it in time, hitting it a certain distance becomes really, really easy. We don't have to guess on how do I hit it 10 yards? How do I hit it 18 yards? My landing spot is here. We know if we take it roughly here to here, that should put us into that parameter. So again, by us being able to control time, how we move the club, and how far we move the club, our ability to control distance becomes disproportionately easier. And that's what we're trying to do around the greens. If we're around and on the greens, if we can control distance, making bogeys from off the green, 3-putting, those kind of things tend to diminish, because if we can control distance, where we're going to land it, how it rolls out, all those components, it's amazing how good our short game and our putting gets. And that is really by rhythm. Most players don't understand rhythm. Most players, here's a coaching note. If you're playing somebody in a match play situation or even a stroke play, the furthest person from the hole should always be going, right? What I've come to learn is a lot of people, when they get around the green, they get uncomfortable, they're fearful, they're scared of the shank, the top, the thinner. They're scared of those, and they will play a lot of times out of turn. Gamesmanship, don't let them play out of turn. Let them fester in their fear, right? So if they don't like a certain shot, they're like, well, I'm going to go ahead and play. I love to say, inside of a competition situation, and it is the rules of golf, and as long as you're not slow playing the field, being like, no, I'm getting ready to go. Just hold on. Let them fester in their fear, because as they sit there and they fester in that fear longer and longer and longer, they're going to be very quick, they're going to be very uncomfortable, and they're probably going to hit a really, really bad shot. So I'm a huge fan in understanding that when somebody is uncomfortable and tries to play out of turn, let them fester. Coach's note, it's not a rule, I'm not breaking rules, but again, I'm allowing a person to be uncomfortable for a longer period of time. I'm okay with that. Maybe I have to tie my shoe, maybe I re-club and really let them fester, but I think that is a great, inside of the gamesmanship side, especially inside of match play, don't let them get away with being in fear and getting it over with. But again, so next week, what we're gonna get on the golf course, and I'm gonna show you some drills inside of timing. We'll do a couple putting drills and show you how to kind of control length and time that way. But like I said, this month we're really going to focus in on our short game. So we're going to look at timing with the short game, length of stroke, and then we're also going to look at our skills challenge next week. So Rhythm and time and distance is massive, right? How far do I move the club and in what timing do I do it? And again, putting ratio is a 2-to-1-ish, where the full swing tends to be 3-to-1. So it would be a much longer motion and much faster to the ball, but since putting and short game tend to be more finesse, a little bit smaller, we're looking more in that 2-to-1 ratio. And again, by simply saying whatever your syllable word is, dog, donut, Virginia, and being able to move in time and distance, there's no situation or no environmental condition that the golf course or the superintendent can throw at you that you can't fluctuate your way out of it. That's why I really like to train whatever your baseline is and then one slower. It just gets you that ability to adapt. I train all three. I train fast, I train medium, I train kind of a slower motion, more length. And the reason I do that, again, is I want to have maximum flexibility when I go to the golf course. No matter what the situation is I can change my swing tempo, especially around the greens and on the greens, by length and time, and control from really fast green speeds to really gnarly lies, to greens that are receptive, to greens that are not receptive. By being able to control that time and space gives me mastery around the short game facility. So if you want to be a great short game player, if you want to be a great putter, being able to control time and space is massive. And like I said, we're going to dive into that next week. I think it'll be really, really helpful. Weather here in the Mid-Atlantic, we're starting to get in the 60s and 70s again. Spring is here, so I'm going to be able to get outside a lot more and shoot more videos. So I think that'll be really beneficial on what we're trying to move towards. So again, use your syllables, understand what that is. You can go back a couple video ago, we talked about controlling distance, and it was the same thing. I'm trying to hit it 10 feet. One syllable word's about 8 inches, a 2 syllable word's about 12 inches, a 3 syllable word is roughly 16 to 18 inches back. And again, depending on how I say it in my head and how I move it through, I should be able to hit it 10 feet on call at any time. And if I can control that, putting gets really easy, right? Then can I control the face and can I control the start line, right? That's a big piece. And then can I make a good read? And what you'll come to find out is your start lines with your short game and putting get disproportionately better when you move in time correctly. It's staggering how good it gets. So take a quick look at that. And the other note for putting, let's say I notice it takes me about 14 inches back, saying a 2 syllable word, and I can hit it 10 feet every time. If I double that length, if I go back to 28 inches, that would actually give me still keeping the same, let's say again, at 14 inches, donut. Now if I go to 28 inches, donut, and then donut, that would actually go exactly about 30 feet. And if I kind of cut that in half, so we got, 28, 14, 14, 7. So about 21 inches, I would hit it 20 feet. And then we have kind of some same ratios with short game, which we'll talk about. But this gives you the ability to control distance. And if you can control distance around the green of the stool, we pull that leg out as not being an issue. Now it's just green reading, or understanding what the ball is going to do in air when it hits the ground and rolls out for short game. And then how well can we start the ball relatively on line and hit our target, roughly hit our target space, or again, putting, just being able to hit it on line. So rhythm is massive. I have a new training aid coming. I'll show you how to use that as well with your rhythm and our timing in some future weeks. But go out there and actually start trying to hit some pitch shots in your yard, chip shots, and really start to think 1 syllable word, like I'm trying to hit it 20 yards. 1 syllable word, how far would I have to swing? 2 syllable, 3 syllable, how far would I have to swing? And can I keep that timing in general and see which timing works best for you? And like I said, we'll talk more about that next week when we're on the golf course. Cheers. Thank you for joining me. I hope this was beneficial. Again, I'm excited about spring. I'm excited about getting back on the golf course. And of course, come join us inside of GolfCask, golfcask.com. Become a free member, become a paying member. Tons of videos, tons of information about golf, whiskey, life. No matter what ratio you like it in it, like golf, whiskey, we're there for you. And again, if you don't like whiskey at all and you just want to dive into our golf material, I love it. We're here for you. If you love just whiskey, I don't know why you're watching this video, but again, we love you for it and we have tons of whiskey information. So cheers, thank you, and I look forward to seeing you on the golf course. and at the 19th hole.